Good morning. I am Daniel Kennable, and I am here with our Sunday school review for this morning. I am joined by Dr. Adriona Taylor. They're coming to Louisiana. Adriona, how are you doing this morning?
Hey, doing well. How are you doing, Minister Daniel?
Life is good, no complaints.
Awesome.
You all are doing
Awesome.
church there in Covington, Louisiana. Y'all aren't only
Yeah.
streaming, but you all are actually meeting outside in the
Yes.
park. Tell me how that's going.
Man, it's been awesome. God has provided for us great weather just about every Sunday. We've gone out there, even when the forecast has said otherwise. It has just been awesome. The fellowship, the attendance, to be able to be in a place where so many people track. I'm talking about people on bikes, people walking, and then they stop to be a part of the service. So the
Wow.
experience there has been awesome. And God's presence still has been there, even outside downtown Covington. So when I tell you we're in a good place, we're in a good place. So it's been awesome. Please keep praying for us.
We definitely will. We definitely will. I know everybody read their lesson for this week. We're in lesson 7, the wisdom
Awesome.
of Jesus. The wisdom of Jesus coming from Mark chapter 6, verses 1 through 6. And the lesson focus says, pursue God's wisdom, laying aside your past and others' expectations. I'm going to take verses 1 through 3, and I'm going to let you take 4 through 6. Is that cool?
All right. Sounds good.
All right. What stood out to me, verses 1 through 3, I said Jesus left his hometown and he's preaching there in the synagogue. And it says many who heard him were amazed. Like they're like, this can't be the same Jesus they grew up. And they
Yeah,
said,
that's
where
good.
did this man get these things? What's this wisdom that has been given him? These remarkable miracles he's performed. Isn't this the carpenter? And what I see in reading this is, even though they see the evidence,
Yeah.
they didn't want to accept the reality. Isn't that something?
That's good.
Even though they
Yeah.
see the evidence, they didn't want to accept the reality that he was more than a carpenter.
Right.
And a lot of
Right.
times what happens is they try to reduce him back to how they knew him, what made them comfortable, even
Right.
though God was calling him into a new season. They went, the matter of fact, it goes at the end of verse 3 and it says, and they took offense at him. Meaning they were like, dude, I mean, I'm using our layman's terms.
Yeah.
They're like, don't talk to us, bro.
Yeah.
You grew up with us. How you going to tell us what to do? And I hate to admit it, but too often we can be guilty of judging the source. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Not realizing
Definitely.
that the source is God. So we look at who's carrying it. We're looking at who's carrying it. That old saying is popping in my head right now. They said even a broken clock is right 2 times a day.
That's
that
good.
A lot of times we look at people who've done something wrong and we would just hold that over their head.
That's
and
right.
I've been guilty of this before. Like, how's this dude gonna tell me something? How's she gonna? But in reality, that's a prideful response.
Yeah, it is.
To the promises of God. God is the giver of all wisdom.
Yes,
God
he is.
Who he chooses to carry his wisdom is his business.
It is. It
My
really
job
is
to just be open to it. These people missed out because they didn't want to be open to it. So let's pass it off to you. Verses 4 through 6. What stood out to you?
You know, even as to pick up kind of where you just stopped off, I think what sticks out to me the most is here it is that there was so many different ways Jesus could have responded. And here for him to not even speak to necessarily what they were doing or speak at them, even though he could have, he chose to rise above it. It was almost like he did not even set out in his ministry. And we know he was all God and all man, but he gave no place for the expectations of man to have any governance in what he did or who he was. And I think that was so powerful, even as it is to us in our daily life, whether it be in our roles as parents or spouses or even in our jobs, that we don't give any permission or space to the expectations of man, that we're clearly focused and have our feet firmly planted in that which God has called us to do, but not just that, but who he's called us to be. And I think that when we're able to do that, it's where we have the ability then to be able to flee all expectations that are not of God. Because when I do that, I clear the way for him to be able to reveal his expectations and then be able to see them, but not just see them, because it's more than that, to be able then to experience them, because that's what's going to change me, but not just change me, but change those I come in contact with as well. And that's really what it's about, bearing a light in a dark world.
Wow, wow. Now let me ask you a question, because there are some people who try to bear their light. They
Mm,
try to reflect truth. They try to let God work through them,
yeah.
but seem like they're being squashed and that nobody wants to
Mm,
hear them. Maybe because of their past, maybe
mm.
because of some other transgression, whatever. And can you encourage, how do you tell someone not to quit who's constantly being told to be quiet?
Hmm. I would start off by simply saying this, hey, if that's something that you're struggling with, first of all, don't forget that it is Christ who's giving you the light. You're bearing his light. Your light was not given by a past friend or a current friend or a boss or whomever it may be that might be challenging you. It is God who has given you that which you have. And so even where it is, sometimes difficult days will come, they will come, trouble will come, and those things will come, as we know here, as it relates to offense and rejection.
Right.
But we do have a choice of allowing it to enter our heart, because we realize that those things don't dictate where we're going to end up being, not unless we allow it. So what I would say is continue to push forward in it, move forward in it, because if God is giving you something, he is going to cause his perfect plan to be revealed through you and by way of you, and people's lives will be changed by it. Even if in not to right now, what you're doing is not in vain. There are seeds that are being planted right now that even though you may not see the harvest from it, it shall come to pass, because God is a God where his word goes forth. It will not return void. It will prosper in the thing in which it's sent unto.
Wow, wow, wow. That's an encouraging word right there. Listen, your strength is in the word, so continue to
Yeah.
study your
Amen.
lessons every week. Continue to check in on your Sunday school class members, your
Mm.
superintendent, your teachers. Let's make sure, even though we're socially distancing, that we still
Yeah,
stay close together, that
that's
we still
right.
do all that God has called us to be. Continue to support your church live stream and support your church financially. You need to do both. You need to do both. So, Adriana, if people forget everything else we said today, this
Mhm.
morning, what would you say is the one thing people need to remember from this week's lesson?
I would say, as you mentioned earlier, we need to do everything that we can to pursue wisdom. Now, what does that look like? That looks like when we hear the voices that will come from a number of different ways, from a number of different people. When we hear those voices that come, heed not the voices other than one voice, and that's the voice of God. Those voices come to distract, but there is one voice that has come to lead us and to lead us into the place where God has already prepared for us, which is our place of destiny. If we pursue that voice, we won't go wrong, and that which he wants to do in our life, it will happen. Pursue the voice of God, pursue wisdom.
Wow, wow. I think that sums it up. Make sure you enjoy the rest of your Sunday, and we'll
Amen.
see you next week. Take care now.
Awesome. Bye bye.